Oh, hello there. My name's Brodie. I'm a sculptor at NECA, and I'm here to tell you that if you didn't watch Dino Riders, Dino Saucers, Denver the Last Dinosaur, Jim Henson's Dinosaurs, or Cadillac and Dinosaurs, or Mask, randomly, uh, your childhood was trash. It's a bulk price kind of deal.
Right.
Then you got shipping concerns and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, true. Yeah. So I guess the ultimate question is which one of these companies are going to get out their ass and give us some official Mask merchandise?
Good segue. It's a good segue. Yeah, man, I don't know. Isn't it crazy of all the big
Tenor.
other than Street Sharks, or I think Street Sharks, which I would argue is not even that big. They're kind of like
Yeah.
there with Visionaries. Visionaries. They're
Oh, man, yeah.
our Air Raiders. Those were kind of like the last to me. Those are kind of the last spokes of the '80s, early
Yeah.
'90s.
It was the end of
Yeah, and
but there's a market for all of it.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And everybody loves Mask. Mask was that like cool thing that it was like this weird bridge between your Star Wars figures and your and your GI Joes and your Transformers, and they're all in this like cool package. And yeah, I don't know a single
Yeah.
toy collector of in our age range who wouldn't love Mask toys. But
I think
I think
It's
cost is probably a big one. Just the cost of and I'm surprised by this. This is something I'm again just pulling out of thin air, but learning as I go, learning over the years, it seems like vehicles are crazy expensive to make. Look
yeah.
at like you look at like Hasbro's the Ghost Rider car. What was that, like $300, $400, or $300 or something like
Yeah, I
that?
think it's like 350 or something like that. And that's just a car with electronics. It's not even it doesn't transform or have any action features.
Yeah, yeah.
the Ghost Rider car doesn't transform. Now I don't want it.
Yeah,
What?
right. Yeah,
So
it's
yeah, the Turtle
I
Van,
can definitely
all that
see.
stuff. They're all money. But they're
Yeah,
big. Those are big ones too. So I don't know if you go back to the
yeah,
Mac, like the Mask like size. I don't know.
yeah. See, the thing is we're in a weird time where everything is 6-inch scale.
Yeah,
We're 1/12 scale, and at that point, it's like, well, what do you do, right? Because, like you said, with Hasbro trying to get the engine of Vengeance out there, they got the for GI Joe, they got the Vamp, and the Vamp is modestly $100. I was shocked when that was priced at $100 with a figure. But now you add gimmicks and action features and stuff like that. So I definitely see it being hard, even at a 3-inch scale or whatever they were, 2.5.
yeah.
But even at a 6-inch scale, it would be more impossible. Me as a fan, I'd be okay if it was G.I. Joe classified line, but Mask figures, or make them all deluxe boxes with
Yeah.
backpacks that transform.
It's probably because they're thinking like, I mean, the what's even at that scale, what is like the average cost for a GI Joe action figure with a vehicle? What would that be on the shelf? And
Yeah,
how much would that cost? And while you have us who would be like, yeah, I'm gonna go buy Thunderhawk or whatever when the second it hits the shelf. Um,
hell yeah,
even of us, like once you get like Thunderhawk and Rhino maybe, um,
yeah.
3 or 4 of the main ones. Are you really, how
You're
deep
out
are
of
you gonna
room.
go in this line? You're kind of
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah, because there was only like 2 or 3 waves or something. There's kind of like these obscure
yeah.
weird ones, and so they can make new ones, of course, but
Well,
then you
yeah.
lose the nostalgia.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, the nostalgia's half the thing because I don't know if you remember I think it was early '90s, there was a cartoon called Vortec, and it's
mm,
pretty much Mask, and they even repurposed some of the molds. Um,
oh,
I forget which one, but not a lot, but only a few. But it was cheaper plastic. It felt more like play schoolish than
mm,
like a actual like toy line. Um, I I mean, I loved Mass since as far back as I can remember. So I ate that up and I bought all the Vortex stuff anyways when I was when I was a kid. Um, but I think that's the last time we've really seen that being like in the mainstream or on shelves, except for, I mean, you have Ramen Toys doing their little like hush hush thing right now,
Right.
which is cool because they're scratching an itch and they're filling a void for people.
Yeah.
And that stuff they're doing is pretty cool, but it just blows, like, and even like you mentioned, visionaries, like Hasbro is sitting on a lot of these properties that so many people would just kill to
Yeah.
have a modern representation in their collection, and they just, like I said,
Can you
even
imagine
sprinkle them in.
marketing Visionaries today, just to be the naysayer? Like, can you imagine trying to market that to like anyone today? It would be purely a nostalgic, like the handful of fans that supported Visionaries for one season of the cartoon, or
Yeah,
I don't
but
know, it'd be hard. But
those are
maybe
kick-ass designs.
that said, now that I'm talking about it, I bet they could do something with Visionaries where it was sort of more like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, or where their chest animal is more. They could probably get someone smarter than me to get creative with it. Like, all right, we're gonna do this. It's gonna be similar designs. They're knights from the mystical whatever with
Yeah.
hologram animals, and we're gonna add a collectible element to it with trading cards and
I was gonna say trading cards and little Tamagotchis.
yeah.
No,
So someone smart
I
could
can
do something.
already tell it's there's gonna be a magic set based off of it now. I can feel it
Oh,
already.
magic set, yeah. They're doing
Yeah.
everything. Whatever. What
Everything.
was the last one? Doctor
Fallout
Who.
coming out.
Oh yeah, I heard
Huh?
about
Yeah.
that. Yeah, yeah.
They had
Yeah,
Doctor
just
Who.
recently, my good buddy here, about 3 years ago, just randomly called me. He lives like right up the street, and he's like, "Did you ever play Magic as a kid?" And I was like, "Yeah. I mean, I got some of the first cards I still have. I mean, they're not worth anything. They're still like worthless. I don't have any of the good first cards.
Yeah. No
I
Black
don't have any
Lotus sitting
unopened
around.
packs, unfortunately. He does. He has an unopened pack, and it's like worth. I think it's valued at like $800 or something like
Wow.
that. And he was like, "Yeah, I just went and randomly bought like a couple packs of Magic, and it's kind of fun. We should play." And so, like, for the last 2-3 years, I've got an entire bookcase of nothing but Magic from the last 2-3 years. They release
That's
so
awesome.
much crap. It's so much. They release way
Yeah.
too much.
So much.
It's just constant.
I I had got over the past couple years, like I got to a point where I'm like I've always bought, like a quantity that I could keep track of like all the newer sets, whether I played or whatnot with it, or like I always bought some packs and stuff. And I think over the past like 3 years, there's probably at least half a dozen sets I missed completely coming out, or I was just like, I literally you just released a new set like 3 days ago, like a
Yeah.
week ago. It feels like at this point, and as a person who has a lot of hardcore Magic fans as friends, I can assure people that the fans are agitated with it.
Yeah.
Hardcore
I've
Magic
heard that.
fans are really, really not super excited about Optimus Prime popping up in their Magic sets.
That was a
I
pretty
know
cool
very
effect.
few.
That was pretty cool.
As a Transformer nerd, like fan from like a very early age, like I could probably call that it's gonna be one of my longest fandoms.
Oh yeah.
But I was excited for that. But I was definitely the minority in that.
Yeah.
It's
Did
like,
did you get the Secret Lair set? I think it was a Secret Lair. Are you familiar with the Secret Lair stuff?
oh yeah, no, that's like I enjoy the Secret Lair stuff. It's like one of the few things that I'm like, all right, maybe I'll keep up with that. But then I stopped doing that because they pump. It used to be like one every couple months, but
Hmm.
now it's like 4 a month, and I'm like,
Yeah, I haven't sprung it in, but they did have a Transformer. They did have the Transformer one, and I thought about it. But then that same buddy bought me the Frazetta ones, the Frank Frazetta set, so that's pretty cool.
yeah,
Shit.
yeah,
That's
no,
all.
they're
But yeah,
the
I didn't. The last one I got was the Jurassic Park kind of one. Um,
yeah. See,
Cave of
I
whatever.
want that.
Wait,
right?
is it
Those are
actually
cool.
just Jurassic Park or just like a Jurassic
Yeah.
Park adjacent?
Yeah,
Like
it's called
licensed?
like Caves of something. I can't remember what it's called, but it's dinosaur themed. But
Okay.
then every pack has like a, you know,
Jurassic
you might
Park
get Jeff
is
Goldblum, you know.
it's a
Uh,
Jurassic Park themed card. Like
Hmm.
yeah,
there's Dennis Nedry and like other like it's actually it, it's actually kind of cool how they integrated it, which is one of the few things that I'm like sort of okay with is that they're making it like a playable card, but then there's the variant which makes it like theme based. Like they did
they
it
design
years
some
ago,
unique
and
card, and you're like, yeah, you're all of a sudden you play a robot while everyone else is playing like wizards, and you're like, what? This doesn't make sense.
right, like they did it a few years
Play that.
ago. One of the first times they did it, they released a whole bunch of Godzilla cards inside that were like
Oh, that's cool.
special cards in one of the sets. So it's like this card name, but it's like this variant is like Space Godzilla, and it's
Yeah,
like literally just Godzilla on the card. So I think it's I think it's that is throwing the people off because they're like, I want the card, but I really don't want like Soundwave on my card, right? Like I
Yeah.
can get less
yeah.
about that.
I could see that
Ability,
being a little odd.
yeah,
The secret layers are probably the best way to have done that and not agitate a lot of hardcore Magic fans. But like they did the Transformers card set they did a 3-pack like 10 or 15 years ago,
hmm.
and nobody wanted that thing. And then it blew up sometime in the past couple years. And same with the My Little Ponies one. They did a ponies
I didn't
three
know they did
card
that.
My Little.
Well, I know they did
Yeah,
I know they did like a. Oh, one of the newest secret layers was, and he got my buddy got that too. He got it for his wife because his wife rides horses. And you got it. It's like all. I don't know if it's all
it's horse.
unicorn.
Yeah,
It's all horses.
yeah,
It's a commander deck. So it's, you know,
yeah.
40 cards, all horses. And
Jesus.
it's kind of cool. It's kind of a cool like I can appreciate that. Like that's kind of cool.
Right. Like those are,
And it's not
but that's
something
it.
you
Is
have
like
to get to stay up to date with the
right.
thing.
Here's the main stuff. Here's the wonky thing. Like when they did the
Oh yeah.
Walking Dead set, everybody got pissed, and I was like, no, 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 don't get pissed at that because that's what you want them to do. You don't want them to mess with your wizards and
You
dragons.
want them to
You
force
don't
feed
want
it to you. Yeah, yeah.
right.
Pull
And
you out of
then
that
everybody
world or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's also a way to get that property or whatever out there in a different media, you know. And
Yeah.
if it works for that, because how many people are they bringing in who just care about those cards and are gonna just get those cards not to play them but to collect them,
Yeah.
you know?
there's
For
a great secondary market.
yeah, I mean they try to do their own thing with like the Transformers playable card game or whatever that they had, and that bombed. You know, so I mean it's another way to get fans that extra media and get them into Magic, you know, which is like that's like their bread and butter right now, I think.
It's uh
Yeah.
between that and D&D, it's like all their money.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I've heard.
Now, what if
Doesn't
that
get
stuff
through
starts
for
showing up in
mail.
D&D?
You play
No, they
D&D?
already
You
have
guys
D&D Magic sets.
No, but other way around, where
Oh,
Transformers and Walking Dead and all that show up in D&D.
yeah.
I
I think you're talking about Warhammer now.
yeah, that doesn't Warhammer, but
Yeah,
Transformers D&D is just Warhammer.
I remember when I was
Uh,
probably 16 or something, and I had saved up I had the money from, you know, my first job or whatever, and I bought a bike with it and had some money left over,
What
and
a bike. What-
bought like I bought Cannondale, bought like this nice mountain bike. But I got it on sale, so I had saved up a certain amount for the bike, and then the bike ended up being cheaper than what I saved, so I had extra money, and I also collected comics at the time, so I was like, I'm gonna go blow this on comics, and but yeah, so I go to the comic store and I saw all these painted Warhammer figures, and I was like, what is this, you know? And I've heard about Dungeons and Dragons at the time, but I never played, um, and I just like became fascinated with Warhammer. So I don't know. I probably spent like $80 like that day on like
Shit.
all these Warhammer sets, thinking I'm gonna go home and play this game with my cousin who's also into like, you know, he's in like Lord of the Rings, so he'd be into this, I bet. And go home, and I just spend like months painting these little miniatures because I loved it was fun. And then one day I was like, "Oh, like, come over, we're gonna play this game." And then I realized it was hard and like had a lot of rules. I was like, "Oh, this isn't fun at all." Like I
Fucking
can't.
them out.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. And
I
so I
just want to
basically
play the.
I
I just want to paint.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
right.
that's basically what I did. I just painted Warhammer for like I don't know, probably like a year or so. I would just buy random kits, put them together, paint them. Never
Shit.
played the game once
There's a
until probably like about a year ago. I had a buddy here who's super into Warhammer, and he paints them all the time. That's like his hobby, and he came over to his house,
Nice.
and he taught me how to play. We had a good time. It's fun. But
games like that's always a fun time. Like Warhammer is a game I stayed away from. They made like there's a game called Hero Clicks, and there
mhm.
was like a mech warrior
Yeah.
Oh,
version
Mech Warrior one,
of
yeah, I
that.
think I've seen that before. Yeah.
So I've been I've talked about it a number of times. I'm still like unpacking things. I actually found like there was a Mech Warrior one and a Mage Knight one, and I recently found all my old clicks from those, and I was like, oh man, great! I don't know what to do with them now. Because
eBay.
the Mech Warrior ones were actually made out of metal,
Oh shit.
so
Okay.
Like
they're
figure leather?
heavy. Like,
Yeah.
and they had figure, like, it's a click, but it's like this tall, and it's like a massive like vehicle like like armor suit transport thing, you know, and it's like solid metal, so it's like very heavy.
Hmm.
If you have somebody who throws a tantrum because you beat them, that thing's coming at your head.
Sounds like
There's
an
a
infomercial in the '90s. Solid Metal, like
solid metal.
compilation album.
Tonka trucks.
I went to a buddy's birthday party a few years, like a year ago, and he comes over to me at one point. He's like, "Oh, I want to introduce this guy." I told him he worked for a toy company. He was pretty excited. This guy I know through work or whatever. So he goes over and he's like, he's like, "Oh, this is Brodie. He makes toys. He makes like turtles and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and stuff." And I was like, "Hey, hey," and he was like, "Yeah, do you do Hero Clicks or whatever it's called?" And I was like, and this
Yep.
guy's like older than me, like he's 50. So he was like
Yeah.
51, 52, and I was like, no, no, I don't. He's like, oh man, we have a big community here that plays Hero. I had like no idea because when
That's a
I
surprise.
think of like little kids that play with them. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't really know anything about it much. I've seen them, but I don't know anything about the community or about people who play it. But this guy was telling me all about like here in Hawaii or in Honolulu, there's like this group that gets together a couple times a week sometimes, and
Huh.
they play
I
nothing but Hero Clicks.
I played Hero Clicks for a solid probably year and a half, 2 years when it first came out, and
Mm-hmm. Same here.
decided that I didn't want any more part of that, because even back then I was like, I already have too many things. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I've already got too many different avenues that take up my money.
Mhm.
I don't.
Well, to me, I never played. It became a collecting thing. Like I got to get these characters because I like these characters, and they wouldn't go anywhere. They wouldn't do anything. They would sit in a little like plastic tote with all their other buddies, and that's it. Then eventually it was like, yeah, I'm good.
That's what I did with the what was that thing that Disney killed? Um, they were like the Disney they're almost like
Oh,
amiibo.
Infinity.
Yeah, yeah. Because those sculpts are amazing. They look so great. They were like
That's why I bought
the,
them.
they
the
were so
amiibos, or
cool. They look like
The
amiibo.
Disney
They're about the
Infinity
same
figures.
scale.
oh,
Same idea. They had something to do with a game that I never played or even looked into, but I would just go
Yeah,
in
it
and like
was.
I'd see like the coolest looking, stylized Disney figures sculpted amazingly,
okay.
painted. They did Star Wars. They did a whole bunch of stuff.
So it was
They were so
it's
rad.
called Toys to Life. Like Disney Infinity, Lego Dimensions, Skylanders, and
Oh,
Amiibo. But Amiibo is slightly different because there's not really like a standalone game. They just
Yeah,
allow
yeah,
you to
yeah.
put
I
other
got
characters.
amiibos too
Right.
for Zelda and stuff like that.
But like Disney Infinity gave you like it was a toy box style game where you got like you could go to uh Hoth, right? I'm just gonna throw it out there. But you could have Mr. Incredible be in Hoth
Mm-hmm.
and like have a special power, and like you could give it like you can give him a transport of like Abu as an elephant, which was like a Toys R Us exclusive one. But that you could like combine them all and stuff, but the sculpts and the designs were freaking
Yeah,
amazing.
they're great. They're
When
really
those
cool.
Star Wars ones came out, I was like, "Oh, those are good."
Hmm.
Uh
And I
and
know for a while the Disney Store, like shortly after those went away, they canceled it. Um, the Disney Store exclusive, they brought out more Star Wars ones in that style that were posable. So somebody
yeah,
smart was like, well, these are popular collectibles. Let's make them just collectibles. But I haven't seen them, so I don't even know if they make them anymore. If they just did like a couple of waves and killed it, or but
yeah. I think they did just a couple waves to probably
see,
justify killing off the game. They were like, "All right, we're gonna toss some toys out there, and then once the
yeah,
sales jettison, we'll move on to the next thing." But I actively,
Oh, okay. So Disney Toy Box. I saw those. Those might be what you're talking about.
no,
Where
look
they're
up
like
Disney Infinity.
no, I did. But when Brody was saying they made them like articulated.
Oh
oh yeah,
So
yes, yeah,
yeah. So I love those designs. Like those, they're just like you said, stylized. They're like chunky, cartoony.
yep, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. That's them.
and
Yeah,
yeah, I love those designs. I wish they went further with that. I got my daughter a bunch of those when she was little, like Mickey, Pluto. And then I had to get like, well, here's Chewbacca, and here's
yeah. And they weren't quite the quality I would say as far as I think that's the other thing about the Infinity ones is they the paint was on point, like everything was on point about it. They were cartoony and stylized, but they didn't like man I'm just looking now I'm looking at it, I'm like man maybe I should start collecting these.
they're super
Yeah,
cool.
I'm looking at the Hulkbuster
But
one
no
right
Robin
now
Hood.
and it's dope. Oh no, Robin
no,
Hood.
Robin Hood got canceled.
That's
Like
dumb.
there
Their
was
hands
like
against
a
each other
few
and support.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, there was like a few figures that got like demo sets or demo pieces sent out there that like got released into the wild after the game went out, and I probably have 40 boxed figures of
Oh
Disney
wow.
Infinity,
Man, I just looked
including
on and they're like there are people on eBay are asking like $25 for figures. They were also pretty. They
yeah,
were pretty
I
pricey though, I believe even back in the day.
they
yeah, I
the
don't remember.
first run was like $10, and then as you got into the later there was like Disney Infinity 1, 2, and 3, and they were all separate games um as well, which is I think what made them fail, is that
Hmm.
you had to keep getting a new game as well as
Oh, geez, yeah.
right.
That's a lot to ask for.
Right. So like Disney Infinity 3, the game could use all the figures, but if you only had the first version of the game, you couldn't use like the Star Wars figures and stuff. So like the Disney 1 was like Pixar and like Disney figures, 2 had like um Marvel characters and stuff like that. And 3 included like Star Wars and stuff like that, but
Hmm.
they but yeah, they were like as they went up, they got more like the newer versions got more expensive because they did start add like they made them bigger, a little bit bigger, and they made versions that had like a glowing lightsaber and stuff. So
Yeah,
those were
yeah.
more
That's
expensive.
pretty cool.
They were. I was super excited when Toys R Us clearanced them out, and I picked up like a stack of them.
Nice.
Uh,
Yeah.
Right, yeah. I was not. And then, like, as the game got discontinued, GameStop started clearancing them out for like
Hmm.
buy one get 3 free, and I was like,
Oh,
okay.
jeez, bro, they're really trying to push that. Get them out.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
like that's why I have a whole bunch of box figures as well as
I'm
probably
trying to remember
100
who.
loose
I remember.
figures.
I'm friends on Facebook or Instagram or something with the guy that's like was one of the main sculptors for that line, and I can't remember his name. I'm blanking on who it is, but I remember I remember him posting when they shut it down, and he was just as surprised as like you
Yeah.
I
could
think
tell from his post. He was just like, I don't know, that I'm saddened by this. We've done
yeah.
such great work, and it's so cool, and it's so popular, and but they decided to
Yeah.
pull it. So
Yeah, it really
I
makes you
think
wonder what goes into those decisions, right? If something's making them money and it's popular, what?
I don't know.
I think it's a combination like Disney Infinity I think was a combination of needing a new game as well as toy add-ons, right?
Yeah, there probably
Not
was
only toy
there's probably
add-ons,
quite a big overhead for that, I imagine.
right? Like toy add-ons plus you had like discs and then like there was like action sets, like there was an action set with like Hawkeye in like a specific place, and I forget like oh man I could have to dig, but I probably
Hmm.
oh maybe it wasn't Hawkeye, no it was the only way to get like Captain America was like in this weird set with him in like I think it was like the Shield base or something like that. I don't know.
Mm.
I
Gonna buy a helicarrier.
That would have been awesome.
That would
This
have been a dick move. Make you buy like a huge ass helicarrier to get Captain America, like a main
Yeah,
Avenger.
yeah.
I'll be honest, the Venom one is one of my favorite figures.
Oh yeah, I remember
Venom
that. That was really cool.
and the Hulk one was quite
Hmm.
great as well.
This is a
Like,
recent thing I got. It's the only thing I've gotten recently of that is considered a figure, but it's it's from Weta. It's a
Huh.
it's a stylized Gandalf, as you can see. It's just a
That's
statue.
cool.
But it's so
Yeah.
cool.
that's
I love the
cool.
style. But they have a whole series like this. They're called like Mighty Minis or something like that. I don't know, weird name, but I saw Gandalf. I thought, man, I gotta get him. He's super rad.
That's
He's
cool.
sitting right here on my
So
thing.
I love stuff like that when like it's stylized and like it's made like cartoony, but in like the right way. That
Yeah,
stuff
you can
always
tell.
like gets me. It's like
Still looks like the actor, and still looks like the character and all that.
The
But
Hocus
yeah, yeah,
Pocus
you could
ones
tell.
that came out like that are actually something I'm like, I kind of dig those.
which one?
It's like the Hocus Pocus ones. I forget who makes them,
Oh,
but it's like the Sanderson sisters, and then they have Billy Butcherson as well.
oh.
And Billy just looks so good. I'm like it's been hard to not buy him because,
I was doing
but it's that
this only Hocus Pocus thing just reminded me because the when I think of Hocus Pocus, I just think of the recent Lego set that was released, the Hocus Pocus. You have it?
yeah.
It's a
Are
pretty
you
cool.
talking about the Are you talking about the Toonie Terrors, Nick?
I don't know. Hold on.
If they're my Toonie Terrors, yeah, that's NECA, yeah.
That's why I'm like,
But I don't work on it, so I wouldn't know.
yeah.
It might be.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Hold on.
But I mean, that's a good example right there, like the Toonie Terrors. I love like the stylized look and stuff, and the cartoony look of those things.
All I know is it's got like an orange pack.
An orange pack.
Like the card is orange.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, then yeah, it's the NECA ones.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, it is the NECA ones. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's fun.
absolutely love the design of those because it's
Yeah,
very
they're super cool.
reminiscent of
Yeah.
the same kind of like that Toonie thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the
It's fun.
Hocus Pocus set, Lego set was amazing. Me and my
It
partner,
looks
we put it
amazing, but
together.
I'm not a Hocus Pocus fan necessarily. I don't know anything about it. I don't think I've ever seen it, but
I think I
saw
saw
that
when I was a
before,
kid.
and I almost like got it anyway, just because it's such a incredible looking like set, like cabin. I got the my big Christmas present was the Lion Knight's castle, like, just
Oh,
over
that thing
there.
was gorgeous.
Shit, nice,
Yeah,
yeah.
But I was on another podcast maybe a couple months ago, and they asked me. Went around. Everyone was like saying what they collect now, and then people were like, Warhammer, Joy Toy Warhammer figures, or the Street Fighter ones, or whatever the new Street Fighter ones by whatever. And I got to me, I was like, I honestly, main thing I buy nowadays is just Lego. That's like that's about it. That's the main thing that's pricey these days, you know. But now I'm getting to the point where I've got a back catalog of about 15 sets, and it's probably the most obvious thing to anyone ever. But I had gone years, I mean, probably a decade since buying any Lego, and then I got the blacksmith house, which is an amazing set, and it was my first kind of venture back into Lego. Actually, I can tell you the last time I bought it. I have from when the Hobbit movie came out. I bought the Hobbit home.
Oh shit!
The last
Hobbit
Lego.
Oh yeah.
So that was like a decade ago. You know.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Longer than that. And then so I got the blacksmith house, and I was like, oh, this is cool. And as I'm building it, I started to realize, oh, this is time. Like, it's not like I can just like, you can get an action figure, new action figure in, and you can open it up, you can look at it, you can spend as much time with it as you want, and you can be done with it. But in order to build that, at the very least, it's going to take me like 12 hours or something.
Yeah.
At the bare minimum, and I never really made that connection where I'm like, oh, Lego is a commitment of time. When you buy that set to actually do the thing, there is no shortcuts. There is no, whatever.
No.
So now it's like I've got 2 kids. I've got husbandly duties and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you don't have time. Yeah,
don't have the time. So now I've got about 15.
Yeah, that's like a couple years ago for my birthday. My buddy got me the Ecto-1, like the big Ecto-1.
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
I haven't opened it up because it's like I got a 5-year-old and I got a job, and then we do this, and it's like I don't have time. If I sit down and try and build that, the 5-year-old's going to be right up my ass wanting to help me, and you don't share Legos. I'm sorry. No.
Oh, you don't? Yeah, I let my 4-year-old and my 8-year-old help, and my 4-year-old's better at it. My 8-year-old's more like she'll start doing it, and then she wants to do her own thing because she's in her mind she can do something better. So I'm like, what do you? No, don't touch that. I need that.
No, well, she has her own Legos. She has her own Legos, and she builds those no problem. Here's the instructions. Go have fun. It's all fun. Yeah. No, I can't share Legos. My wife wanted to do that one time. I got her into Legos, and she like had a set that she wanted to build, and I was kind of like, well, I don't have a set to build, So she was like, oh, we can. She's like, we can build this together, and I'm like, no. And then it was like vice versa. Another time where I had a set, and I'm sitting there all excited. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna put my Lego together, and she's like, well, I don't have one, and I was like, sucks to be you.
Oh no.
She's like, we can just build yours. I'm like, no.
See, but now you're saying you don't have the time.
I was fully prepared for that situation. I got my partner into Legos, and we have a now 11-year-old. Yesterday was his birthday. So, but for the past few years, like, I'm smart. I got my stuff, but then I was like, oh, let me get you your own stuff. So that, sure, your stuff might be smaller or, less, like there's less to do, but I got my stuff. So then we just started having Lego nights where, like, we, instead of watching a movie or dinner, we would eat dinner. But like after dinner,
you're eating Legos.
You gotta be able to afford the Lego somehow. You gotta cut somewhere.
Right.
That's where they got the term shitting a brick. It's because you force feed your family Legos.
And then they connect inside and come out simultaneously. No, but yeah. So I was like, here's yours, and I get to build mine. But there are times where, like, the 11-year-old gets a Lego set for Christmas, and I don't get a Lego set for Christmas, so he has one. But like you said, you've got a backlog. I don't want to talk about my backlog.
Okay, I didn't know. I don't have too many friends these days. I have a good, like, a childhood friend who's my age, and he has a family and everything, and they're kind of the same thing. They live in Atlanta, and I was recently there, and they have an entire room that's Lego that he and his kids do, and his kids are really smart for their age too, so they're not doing like, for this age, they're doing all the
Yeah,
advanced,
oh yeah.
and they've got all the badass sets, like all the, like, you name it, they have it. And I'm just walking around the room like I'm in a museum. He's like, oh yeah, me and Connor did that a couple weeks ago, and I'm like,
Nice.
Connor?
Yeah, the idea line, which is the one with the blacksmith and the hocus pocus house, that line is actually pretty phenomenal. Like overall, that
Yeah,
line
yeah.
has come out. That line has come out with so many really cool sets. Like it had the original like DeLorean in it.
Hmm.
It had, like, they gave us Wally. They gave us the Big Bang House.
The
It gave
Seinfeld set,
the Seinfeld set.
the Office set, the Friends set.
TARDIS. Back in the day, that thing's expensive now.
I did get
But
the
like,
I lied. The actual last Lego set I bought before I started buying Lego and in with some fervor was the Voltron when that came out. Whatever, like
yes,
3-4 years ago.
Oh, that thing.
And that is in the box. I never opened
Oh,
it. So now I'm kind of like, well, it's retired. Maybe I don't want to open it. I'm just gonna probably just leave it in the box. And
yeah, but they retire everything, So
yeah, but
I
yeah,
do.
true. But
I
once it goes retired, then that skyrockets the price. Like Voltron was, I didn't get Voltron.
yeah, but are you getting to resell? Or are you getting because you enjoy it? You know what I
I
mean?
didn't.
If
I
it's
feel like that's why I'm keeping it in the box, because I don't buy any Lego to invest in. I just buy them to play with. But that was sort of an oopsie, and now I'm this far in. This
yeah,
far.
Right, like
I'm this
it's a
far in, and I
question,
don't
like,
care as much because I have like 15 other Lego sets that are fantastic. I've got the Viking Town untouched. I've got
oh,
the
that thing looks so
castle. I've got the
nice.
man, I got so much stuff over there. I don't even know.
I still gotta get the Optimus Prime one. That's one I really want.
good.
I
Oh
have
no,
that.
I got that.
That one's downstairs right now being put together.
I
Nice.
got that for my birthday. So, and that one took me a little bit of time.
So many
Like we only
small.
do.
I was kind of surprised because I expected bigger, more, I guess, bigger bricks and stuff to make it up, but it's
Yeah.
like it feels like it's 90% like 1 and 4
There's a
by
lot of
flat pieces. I'm
yeah.
like,
There's a lot of intricate pieces in that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
It's a great build. I absolutely loved it. I got it, but like you said, it's a time commitment. So we do Lego nights, and it's like an hour, hour and a half. So I'm like, all right, well, I get through like a couple bags because,
do
especially
you
with
set
like
a time,
Optimus
or do you just
Prime.
do you set a time, or do you just like, it's like, okay, Lego time starts at 8 and we go till 9, or do you guys
We
just
go to we're finished. Damn it.
like,
Well, it depends on when we were doing it. Like the kids have a bedtime, so like we
yeah,
have like a cold stop. Like we like not a hard stop, but it's like, all right, well, the kids
all
gotta
right,
start getting to
getting
bed.
around there, yeah, yeah,
Like, every once in a while we wouldn't start until later, so it wasn't like 7:30 to 9 or whatever it was. It's like when we start, but like, yeah, okay, the kids got to get to bed. But if we did on like a Friday or Saturday, we were a little bit more loosey goosey with like time
yeah.
commitments. It's kind of like, all
I
right,
got the.
so
Did you
what?
guys get any of the Mario ones? The
My
playset one.
daughter has so freaking many of those. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
She
My
loves them.
kids,
They're
my
super
kids
cool.
bought
It's
me.
super fun.
Yeah, my kids bought me a couple of sets for me, and then they ended up playing with them, which it's kind of better for them anyway. But
Yeah.
kind of
As
neat.
an adult,
Like you're just
yeah.
like
As an
I should do
adult,
it with
I just want
standard.
the figures.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I don't need the pieces to make the set. I don't need the warp tubes. Like just give me Lego bricks to build all of like Bowser's kids.
yeah. I got the
Oh,
little
Just
you
shit
want
plant,
like
brick
just
heads?
shit like that.
that one's pretty cool. That's
Yeah,
just
And
a
the
yeah.
nice
entire
Because some of the stuff that
series.
come out like I want like give me the Boomerang Brothers to build or something like that. Like
yeah,
that's what
yeah,
I want from that.
You
But
just want brick
they got
heads,
some
bud.
cool. Yeah, but they have them in the line,
Right.
but they come in sets, and
Yeah.
I just want those figures by themselves because that's something I would collect,
Mm.
without the other stuff. But I mean, that's a pretty cool line. The freaking Sonic figures are pretty, not figures, but the Sonic sets are pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw that the other day.
She doesn't have any of those, but like just the fact that they made it so that he runs the course and stuff. It's pretty freaking cool.
What about Lorcana? Anybody get into that stuff at all? Speaking of Robin Hood,
oh shit! Oh yeah, Nick was mentioning that the other day.
I have many unopened packs. I have many open sets. I have not opened any, but I intend to.
Yeah, I ultimately tried very hard to stay away. I have bought a number of packs. I have not gotten anything super cool, but I haven't gone like full in yet.
I haven't played the game yet. I got my kid. I bought several of the first round when they sold out and then no one could get them. Best Buy somehow still had them, and I was able to get them through Best Buy when everywhere else was sold out. And then, but when they said they were going to remake the first wave and then the second wave was going to be really easy to get, that's what I got one of my daughters a bunch of the second wave with the intention of us sitting down and playing them, and they're sitting right over there. They still haven't done it. Not out of a collector thing, just time. Again, it's time. It's like
no, that's
a couple hours out after into school, and it's like you got like so many things you got to do, and then you're like, we're gonna sit down and learn a new game, or am I gonna drink beer? Be lazy.
That's kind of the same boat. Like, I want to learn how to play. Like, all of the people I've talked to at like the comic stores and stuff like that, they're like, I've been playing Magic for decades at this point, and I've played more Lorcana in the past month than I probably played Magic in the past 6 months.
That's pretty
or
cool.
Year, right?
Yeah,
like,
pretty fun.
It's a game that a lot of people love. The artwork is gorgeous.
Yeah.
The new series that they're dropping with like DuckTales and stuff like that, I'm like, oh.
But they have Darkwing in there somewhere.
Do they?
Yeah, probably. I don't know.
I won't put it past them to drop it because Scrooge got released, and I was like, oh.
When I was when I was a teenager, I worked at Electronics Boutique, EB Games, or Badgers, that kind of. And we had a shrink wrap machine, so we'd often reshrink our games and just return them. Everyone did. Everyone did.
Yeah.
You just get your full credit back and whatever. One day we found out that Toys R Us did it. Like Toys R Us they would take your returns and give you Jeffrey bucks. So whatever you brought them, if it was shrink wrapped, with or without a receipt, Jeffrey bucks.
Yeah.
And so the Nintendo, what was that 3D thing called? The red
Virtual
Boy. One day we're opening up shop in the morning, my buddy and I, and we get the little note, all Virtual Boys just went down from like 150 or 200 bucks down to $19.99. And we had 8 of them on the shelf. So Rich and I just named my culprit. My co-conspirator. We bought every single Virtual Boy, and then we took them over to Toys R Us across the street. Not at once, just one at a time, where they were still selling them for $200.
You got to do it. Over time. You can't do it. You can't.
Yeah, so we had friends do it. We did it. Like so many Jeffrey bucks before those Virtual Boys. And I remember I can probably like plot out how long it took me to spend the Jeffrey bucks that we got, because I spent my last dollar on a Mountain Dew, but it was I had bought the Nintendo 64. So I wonder how long between Virtual Boy and Nintendo 64, but that was with the last chunk of the
Jesus.
But shortly after that, you could no longer return stuff to Toys R Us without a receipt.
Yeah,
I think it's
broke Toys R Us too. You're the reason why they went out of business. Damn it!
No. Nintendo Toys went bankrupt and went out of business. So I feel so horrible.
No. Like, I very specifically remember that policy. I know I know for a fact you are not the culprit for that. That is a very common thing that got taken advantage of. But it did change their policies and whatnot. And like certain stores like EB Games, they stopped. If you brought a video game in for trade, it had to be unshrink wrapped.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah, I know
they couldn't watch you unshrink wrap it.
that.
Like I went to bring
Just turn around.
like
I remember
so
that.
from
Yeah.
right, from a flipping standpoint, right? Like, I'll be honest, there was a number of times I bought clearance games or whatever at Toys R Us and brought them to wherever was giving me the best value, right? Like,
I think
Uh-huh.
everyone
so
did.
I bought video games at Toys R Us and went to EB Games or GameStop or whatever the flavor of the week was, right? And I was like, yeah, I want to trade this game in. They're like, we can't take it. It's new. I'm like, okay. So do you want me to just open it? They're like,
Less chance of it
if you
being
open,
broken. Yeah,
they're like, if you open it in front of us,
we can't take
we
it.
still can't take it. I was like,
It's so weird.
hold on a second. So I walked outside, ripped it open in my car, and then walked back in. I was like, hey, I'd like to trade in this game. They're like, all right, we'll give you this much money for it. I was like, yeah, I know. But, you talked about reshrink wrapping things, and then there's a number of stores that got in a lot of trouble, GameStop and EB and Games included, where they were reshrink wrapping it and then just reselling it as new.
You could tell half the time too, because like the shrink wrap was like looser than like the factory seal one, so it looked a little wonky.
I mean,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Walmart and stuff does it now. They do it, but they do it because they're putting something inside the box or whatever, so it doesn't have the same Y fold that a video that it's supposed to have.
Do you follow the figure swap one? There's probably more than one, but there's like a good one on Instagram that I follow. I can't remember what it's called.
Oh yeah, I don't follow them, but I catch those. Like those, that's just
pretty
ridiculous.
great. I mean, I'm not like for that. I'm not for figure swap, but seeing like what they get away with, what they actually return to Target, I'm like, man, that's depressing.
Oh,
but how much of that stuff is like bullshit? You know what I mean? Like that's how much of that is people like just posting those pictures for attention, and they swapped themselves but didn't return it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Amazon got me again. It's a cucumber instead of my Wolverine figure.
Well, I mean, a lot of it's done at the store, or at least the ones I've seen, where it's like on the Target shelf and you can tell they're at Target still. But I guess they could have still figured it out. But I've seen it myself where it's like they clearly took an old something out of one thing and put it in another. So I have seen it where I'm like, how did this? And I don't, you never know if someone bought it and returned it that way and Target took it back and put it on the shelf, or someone in the store there did the swap out, and like who knows.
Dude, that'd be dastardly. Imagine like you got like an action figure like stuffed down your pants and you walk in the store and you're like swapping it out.
I just can't imagine getting caught stealing today. Like it's just, I mean, obviously I'm older and more mature kids and stuff, but man.
Well, not that, but there's cameras everywhere. Like
cameras everywhere.
Someone's gonna see you.
Someone's gonna see you. They may not do anything to stop you. I think that's one big difference when we were growing up as kids is stealing was easier.
Oh, they would grab you.
They would grab you, and now it's like stealing is a lot harder. But depending where you are, they may not touch you, and you might just
when I worked at Best Buy, we had some stuff come back that was new, and like the person who took it back was just in like one of those people who you were like, how do you function, right? Like, but they live in they work in retail, right? So they would take stuff back, and then like the video game manager, like the media manager, whatever, would be like, why does this game system box rattle? And they'd open it up, it would be like something that would make it weigh like no literal rocks we found in a 360 box. But
was that guy that got caught doing that with Amazon, who would buy stuff from Amazon, take the contents out like cameras and stuff, but he'd weigh the box first and then put the exact same weight of rocks and bricks inside it and return it. And they finally caught on, and like he faced serious shit for that. But like
I mean, we
that's
felt
crazy.
like we never like we would never do anything like that as kids. We were like big on we were just never. But we were not. We were, you know, we always justify it as we're just playing the system that exists. We're not trying to like.
Right.
They're
Gaming
giving
the
us money
system.
for this item that they will sell. It is the item. It is going on their shelf. It is going to be sold.
Gaming the system
We're
is
just
one
playing
thing.
within their system.
Yeah.
The only thing is different is that we are able to take this little sticker off that says sold at EB and walk across the street.
Yeah.
Or we can shrink wrap it because we have a shrink wrap.
Yeah,
machine.
see that
Yeah,
that's
we were
definitely
playing, but playing that game was we got pretty with Circuit City too. I worked at Circuit City for a while, and same thing.
Let's
like,
just
it
talk
was
about
like-
all the stores that don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
I
Well,
worked
that
at a
was
lot
it.
of them.
There were, like
It
at
was
Best
my
Buy, you
fault.
could,
I'm telling you.
My first job was at KB Toys when I was 16.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Funny story. Guess what I spent all my money on when I was 16 on my first job?
was it M.A.S.K figures?
It was.
Oh.
I would take every paycheck. I would take every paycheck, go on to eBay. This is when eBay was like brand new and people didn't know the value of shit. And I bought every single M.A.S.K figure except for the split seconds because I hated that shit. Like I bought Boulder Hill and everything. Like that was for my first job. I still do. I still have all that shit in my storage right now.
So I lived when M.A.S.K was big. I lived in Texas. I lived in this little town called Dumas, Texas.
Shit.
Which is like in the Panhandle.
You got around, man.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Closing stores.
But I lived in the Panhandle of Texas, and when I was a kid, so basically till I was about 7, 8 years old, and it's about an hour and some change from Amarillo, and which is a slightly bigger city. It's big now, but I think back then it was just slightly bigger. And my parents would drive me into town. We'd go to Amarillo because Dumas was like where I lived in Dumas. It's like literally you sneeze, miss it, you know, kind of tiny little place.
Sure.
You know, this is like 83 or 84 or something, a long time ago. And we go into Amarillo. My parents took me to this like toy store, this independently owned toy store that was all like Japanese toys, which was wild for a lot of reasons. It's in the it's before like Japanese toys and anime and everything had the big boom here in America.
Yeah.
And to have like an import store in the middle of nowhere, Texas, was just wild. I mean, of course, I didn't know that at the time. At the time, I just thought my parents were taking me to a cool store with a bunch of robots everywhere.
Sure,
but
absolutely.
Looking back, I'm like, that's crazy that store existed. But they had you familiar with Godaiken? I think I'm saying that right. Godaiken.
Yeah.
They're like the die cast. It's where Voltron came from. Like Voltron.
Oh yeah.
Before Voltron was Voltron, it's called like Lion God or Lion something, I can't remember. And so I used to go to that store, and they had all those on the line, but they also sold M.A.S.K toys, and they had M.A.S.K, they had Transformers, and then they had all Japanese toys. So they kind of had like one or two kind of things that were in America, but mostly So back in Dumas, I had this buddy named Ian Keithley, who he was that kid who had like, you know, he had the G.I. Joe aircraft carrier. He was that kid.
Oh shit!
You know, he was that kid who
Silver
had
spoon motherfucker.
Yeah. So, and I would go to his house, and like it seemed like every time I went to his house, his toy collection grew, and he had like every Godaiken figure. I had one, and I still have it. I still have it on the shelf. I've had that thing 40 years. You know, I've had it a long time. And he had every single one of them. He had every single M.A.S.K toy. He had Boulder Hill. He had the Rhino, which I loved Rhino. I wanted that one so bad. The only one I only had two. I had Thunderhawk and Switchblade, which I think broke immediately. There was something about the Switchblade. I remember getting it, and because my friend Ian had it, so I was super psyched that I got it finally, and I played with it, and it went in the toy box, everything else, and like I remember like the next time I played with it, like the wing was missing somehow. There's just something about that age where like I play with toys, and I can appreciate it now because my kids break their toys all the time, and I'm thinking I'm like, I bet it's similar. I bet because I like was it wasn't that I was necessarily rough with them and like didn't care.
Yeah.
I just didn't. I would break a leg and not realize it's actually broken or something, and I'd put it down, and then when I go to pick it up again,
The
it'd already
next time, yeah,
I,
yeah.
my Optimus Prime is another thing. I have had him since I was a little kid, and his
Shit.
right leg has been super glued for probably 36 years or however long I've had him.
That's
He's
awesome.
still out there. But
Jesus.
I think the Switchblade is basically the carcass now. It doesn't none of the moving parts or exist anymore. It's just the blue shell.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Yeah, but before I got my first job, it was flea markets. That's how I would get my mask figures, and even then, I think I had Condor, Hurricane, and Manta.
That was cool. The other one I got too. I got shoot, what was it? Stinger.
Stinger. That's a badass one. The
Yeah.
orange car.
Yeah, I had that one.
Yeah, that was a badass one.
The only one I'm not familiar with, I'm looking at these. I've never seen Slingshot before. It's like the minivan.
What the old dude in the van, like the dad bod in the van.
That one's crazy. That one's cool. It's got the jet inside. That's pretty rad.
Yeah, the problem is though the van would always like pop open and wouldn't like stay closed half the time.
You roll it and just like slide open.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one.
It's kind of weird. I don't really Transformers was my thing, like for sure, like above all else. Transformers, just a little under that GI Joe, and that was my main focus for most of my childhood. Everything else was just sort of sprinkles of season. But I really don't. I don't collect mini Transformers anymore. I have an Optimus Prime shelf. Just kind of happened because I realized I had a lot of Optimus Primes. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then speaking of on Super 7 and on sale, I got the Optimus Prime Super 7 for like $20 Entertainment.
Oh, nice.
They did like
nice.
right before.
Yeah, they've been having some deep sales.
Yeah, those deep sales. Yeah, it was like 24, 20. I was like, yeah, I'll get it now.
Have you seen
but again, like you said about Robin Hood, is it worth that? It's kind of not. It's kind of bad. It's kind of a bad figure, and I hate
Optimus even for $20 is bad.
It's kind of bad compared to like I got the Hasbro Red one, which that tank.
Oh yeah,
that series tank. But,
yeah,
it's just a much better figure. Like it's all around a better figure.
Yeah, a lot cheaper too. What those were like $30, something like that.
Yeah, well, I think I got mine for $19.99.
Anyway. There you go. But have you seen the missing link Optimus Prime that's coming out this year?
Mm-mm.
It's the G1 Optimus Prime, but fully articulated. So it looks like the G1 Prime.
Oh, really? But it's
knee joints, everything. Knee joints, ankle pivots, bicep swivels.
I'll buy that.
Everything. Yeah, I pre-ordered the toy one. No, the animation one.
Where do you get
it? Was on Hasbro Pulse. It's probably up on Entertainment Earth and all that stuff. But there's the one there's the one that's just Prime, and that's like $80. And then there's the Prime with the trailer. I forget how much that was, but I just got regular Prime, and they got it. Apparently, there's a bunch of die cast in them too. So,
that's true.
Yeah, when I found out that they're fully articulated, I was like, I gotta get that.
I'll be honest, this Super 7 Fallen Optimus Prime looks kind of cool. It's just grayscale, but they did a print on him. They wrinkled up his. They gave him battle damage, so he's when he's.
I just pulled up the Super 7
only
one.
$75.
Best Buy has Shattered Glass Super Cyborg version.
No.
And it's like he looks. At first, I thought it was Galvatron in the picture because of what it looks like.
So those are also like this big. Those were like
11 inches.
Yeah.
I buy most of my stuff from Entertainment Earth because you get free shipping if you spend over like $70, which is almost a given, and then you don't have to pay until it ships. Do you pay for a big bad toy store until it ships?
No. Nope. And Big Bad Toy Store, I don't know about Hawaii, but it's $4 flat rate shipping.
Here it's gonna be like $20. It
It's
says it
$20
costs
flat rate shipping.
$20.
You hear
Sounds
that,
good.
Big Bad Toy Store and Super 7? You should sponsor us.
Yeah.
We're selling toys for you.
Oh, okay. No, actually, I don't even know what this means. They use like a special technique. It's $9.50 plus $1.25 per shipment. So $9.50 plus $1.25 per pound.
Huh.
So
That's
I guess
interesting.
however much it weighs. So yeah, it'll probably be $20 or whatever. But still. All right. Well, I mean, it's got to be bought. I mean, I don't really have an option here.
That thing's badass. I cannot wait.
I never knew. Yeah, I just kind of quit looking at Transformers. I don't buy that many. I don't care. I got several from 3.0. Back when I was doing toy reviews, they sent me a couple for free, which I'm really appreciative of.
Nice.
But I haven't done toy reviews in 9 years, 8 years.
Oh, jeez.
You do toy
Could have been
reviews
a
all the
contender.
time. Part of your
What's that?
job.
Yeah, right?
You do toy
Well, I
reviews
kinda
all the
stopped
time.
because
It's part of your job.
I started pursuing the toy industry like as a job, so it was like I couldn't really I couldn't split because time, couldn't split my time between working on a portfolio and it takes a long time to do toy like a good toy review. I had this toy.
Yeah.
Right.
I used to run a website called Rad Toy Review, and I took a lot of photos. And if you ever look up any of my reviews, they're like short novels. They're ridiculous. They're so long, so many words. And then I started doing YouTube videos in the early heydays of YouTube,
Yeah.
and um, and that's where it really was like, oh my god, this takes so much time to do.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah.
and still, ironically, my most watched video on YouTube was has like over like 1.5 million views or 1.2 or something like that, and it's the crappiest like piece of garbage. I think I did it with like a first gen GoPro, so it's all like fisheye lens and
Oh,
bad
Jesus.
lighting, and like you can hear the fan in the background, you can barely hear my voice, and some reason that one's got the most views of, and then the ones I actually put a lot of effort in got a couple thousand or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, half the thing that sucks about that stuff is if you're not like first, you miss so many views.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought about doing that before, and I did like way back in like early like 2007, I think, when the first Transformers movie came out. I was like buying that stuff and like, I made a couple reviews, but then nothing happens because there's these guys that would buy them off eBay months before they came out and have the reviews up first, and they would get all the attention.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, effort. If you want to stand out, you got to put the effort in, the design, the graphic, the actual editing and stuff. And it's just like, that's a lot of freaking work.
Well, I got it too. I mean, I was mainly justifying my 3A addiction. I just started buying them, and it was right when we moved to Hawaii, so it was about 12 years ago. And I had gotten so much 3A, and I didn't really have a good job at the time, and I wasn't in the toy industry. My wife was just not really thrilled with it, so I started like, I'd go out and take photos, and then I just started writing reviews. And then eventually I got to know some of the guys at 3A and at 3.0, and just different companies over the years. And I would write these reviews, and I'd be really brutally honest. Which at the time, if you looked at reviews around that time period, they weren't really. There was a few. There's a guy named Michael Crawford. I can't remember what his website's called, but he's been around forever, and his reviews have always been pretty good. But he's done the same style review for like whatever 15 years. So it's literally it looks like a blog with like some photos and then there's words, and he's pretty critical, but not like not mean spirited in any way, just like honest. But he was one of the few. Like I remember looking at toy reviews and it'd be like, the worst photograph of a toy that was done, and they had the flash on and it's reflecting light off of and I'm just like, I can't even look at the photo. I don't know what this toy looks like, and that used to aggravate me. My wife had a nice camera, so I would take all these using the DSLR. I would take these nice photos, which is common today. Like everyone does that today, but back then, nobody did it. So mine kind of, I think, stood out a little bit back then. So a
Because
couple
you
like
put time
Hasbro
and
showed
effort.
to me some
Yeah,
free
they
stuff,
care.
and I put a lot of time and effort in. But then it just came down to like, yeah,
That
I
time and
wasn't making
effort.
any money off of it. I think the most I
Yeah,
made was like $100 or something one month
yeah.
on YouTube. So it wasn't really a something I thought I could make a living doing. But I think of it now and I'm like, man, if I my math is right, I started around the same time as like Pixel Dan and Shartimus Prime, like those
Shit,
guys.
yeah.
So maybe if I kept up with it, who knows? Maybe today I'd be one of those
Yeah.
guys walking around. But that's such a hustle too. I think I might be too lazy for that world as far as
Yeah, right.
it just seems like that's the thing that consumes all your time, where I can sculpt and I work my normal 9 to 5, but I can work a little late. I can work a little, in pockets, and when creativity hits me, I can work, and when I can ramp things up and down. But I'm not like beholden to like what you said. Oh, I gotta, if I don't get the latest Marvel Legends thing,
If you're not
so
first,
is
it's
gonna get
Ricky
the show,
Bobby, man.
and
If
then
you're
I'm
not
not gonna
first, you're
get
last.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. Seems like a huge
It
hustle.
sucks, yeah. Yeah, and then you need, especially nowadays, you need something that makes you stand out from everybody else because everybody's doing shit,
That was my one good thing is I had 3A and 3.0 stuff, and there wasn't really anyone reviewing.
Yeah.
And I had an end there. I have friends that work there, and so I was getting some product from them, and they're big and expensive and insane. I reviewed the Metal Gear Rex. I don't know if you ever saw
Oh shit. Oh yeah.
their review. And in one of my first jobs with Hasbro, I was talking to the guy, the hiring manager over there, and we were just chatting like we are now, kind of before I got the work. And I was like, yeah, I used to run this toy website and called Rad Toy Review. He goes, you did the Metal Gear Rex review, dude. I bought that toy because of your review. And I was like,
That's awesome.
oh, that's cool, man. That's cool. And I don't know if that's why I got the job. I'd like to think it was because of my skill, but my talent, my ability. But
You shut down Toys R Us and
Yeah,
Circuit
right.
City, but you got a job at Hasbro
yeah,
because
I
you
shut down. I
reviewed
got
a
Toys
toy.
R Us City shut down, but I brought business to a couple of small toy companies at one time. So feel pretty good about it.
See, it's okay
Nice.
then. Robbing from the rich and giving to the poor. I see what
Oh
you
Yeah,
did
shit.
there. Like
Oh,
Robin
shit.
Hood.
look at that. It's thematic.
You're a guitar player. Even Robin Hood plays a lute or whatever that thing is.
Oh, the crow guy, right? The rooster, I mean. Rooster guy.
Yeah, the rooster
Yeah,
plays it.
Yeah,
yeah,
the
that's
rooster.
it.
That's a
Little
crow.
lolly.
Right?
Yeah, that's a good song, man.
It's a great song. All those songs, they're great.
Yeah,
The whole movie is actually just a really great movie.
dude, it's so good. And to think that came out what, like in the '60s or something.
70s.
Yeah, '70s. Like it's that old, like, and it still holds up. So good.
There's something that I learned, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago. I've seen that movie so many times, and I watched it again maybe like 4 years ago for the first time. There was like a dip, and I wanted to watch it with my kids, and I put it on. And the scene where like little John's dressed up like a woman,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's like the guards are running in the tents and they're running out, whatever, and he comes out. My entire life, because he comes out and he's got the fake boobs in and stuff like that, and he's like,
Yeah.
and my entire life I thought he said, "What a beautiful bra." That's what I always thought he said. He says, "What a beautiful bra." No, he says, "What a beautiful brawl," which makes way more sense given the context. But I thought that when I was a kid, so I've thought that in my whole adult life, and at least I think that's what he's. I think that's what he's saying is "What a beautiful brawl," but he's definitely not saying "What a beautiful bra," which is what I've
You
always.
never know. You never know.
It's Disney in the
Those feisty
70s. It
Disney characters.
could be anything.
There's something that's
What?
always bothered me about M.A.S.K, even when I was actively playing with them and watching the cartoon and stuff like that. Two things. One was the figures. At that time, the standard was, to me, it was G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Because you pose them, you could and that's what I love to do. I like to put them in the military. You can only do so much with the mask. I never was big on the Star Wars figures for the same reason. I hated that
Yeah.
they were. You can do this. They can use
Yeah.
leg, foot, whatever. Hated that. Air Raiders. Oh my God! They decided to put the legs on the same peg, so they could sit or not, but you couldn't even like.
Yeah.
Just that drove me insane as a child. So I always got aggravated at M.A.S.K because they didn't have the mobility of like a G.I. Joe figure. But I could let that slide. But even as a kid, like as much as I thought the Camaro was rad, and he's the main character, the leader of the good guys, Thunderhawk. It's a kind of a lame transformation.
It is.
Doors open.
He just opens up his doors.
Doors open, little things pop out, and the little tail.
Thrusters in the back, and he's off.
It's just pretty. It's very simple. And I was like, just for this chat, I just kind of went through to refresh my memory, and I was like clicking on this website and looking at all the different ones. And
but that's the thing is, most of them are like that.
Rhinos is very like
dumb.
Very dumb. Like a door comes down. Like what are you gonna do with that while you're driving down the road? Like I can't even tell really between the two here. The smokestack points down. Of course, the back part pops off and becomes a secret.
The grill comes forward.
The grill pops open like it looks like this much maybe.
Nah, it's a decent amount. And then the back comes off as like a little utility rover.
Yeah. It's pretty.
That's pretty much it.
It's a mobile defense unit. It's like I feel like you guys could have just left it as a truck and it'd been just as useful to you.
No.
But
what about Gator?
Gator.
The truck was too close to Optimus Prime.
Oh, Gator just opens up, right, and the guy flies out.
Yeah. Funny thing is that's the one mass vehicle that I never had other than the split seconds. And within the past year, I found one and then bought all the pieces to complete it. So,
oh, nice. Like some of them are cool. Like Switchblade is cool, even though it's like you're going from a helicopter or jet. I mean,
it's pointless, right?
Silly, but it looks cool, right? And there's enough moving parts, enough switching around. Jackhammers is cool. The front comes out. Turret.
Bullet. Motorcycle turns into a little hovercraft.
I almost bought off of eBay the other day a T-Bob and Scott.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I think
I had T-Bob as a kid. I didn't have Scott.
Or my buddy had it and he brought it over a lot. I remember the toy. I remember like, do you ever guys ever pick up like an old like toy you had as a kid and it takes you back like physically, like tactily, is that the word? Like you feel it like the tactileness of it. You're like, oh, I remember that. Remember that click? I remember that thing. Like that's what like when I forgot about T-Bob completely, and then the other day I was on eBay, looking up Godiakin toys. I'm trying to buy Godiakin stuff, and for some reason I can't say that word tonight. And then that reminded me of the M.A.S.K stuff, and I kind of started veering into that, seeing what those things were going for, and then T-Bob popped up. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, I felt my hands closing the wheels, and I was like, oh, I gotta pick that up. I gotta get it.
The thing that killed me is that T-Bob figure never looked right. Like it was so weird.
No, the kid, or the robot.
Yeah, T-Bob. Yeah, it was just so weird. Like, and I get it, like limitations of like the technology and the engineering of the time and stuff like that. But the fact that it was just like three wheels that like chewed together and you just cram the
where the arms come out.
Yeah.
But I like that. It looked like he's a scooter, but like the kid can't like ride it right. Like he's not holding anything. That seems extreme.
Yeah, because they sculpted him like with his arm up or whatever.
Well, I don't think his legs bend or something. I don't know. It looks like he's very limited toy.
Definitely weird, like sculpting toy. Just like like the original Shredder figure. Like let's make him hunched over. One arm will be bent and the other arm will be straight. It'll be great. Like what the hell are they thinking?
Or they do the weird paint. They have the one where he has like eyebrows and one where he has no paint, so it just looks like giant bald forehead and
yeah.
That's kind of for me is, working and mostly doing turtle stuff nowadays is, of all those popular toy lines, I was probably least invested in turtles because I was kind of like, as I was aging out, I would think.
Yeah.
Probably. I did have a
Yeah.
lot. I had my mom actually sent me a care package about a month ago of like stuff that she found in like my closet. So it was
Nice.
like, so I've got like several turtles and some of that kind of stuff. A lot of my old GI Joes, which instantly fell apart, like all the
Yeah.
O-rings.
All the rings just
I'm like,
disintegrate.
oh, Snake Eyes. I'm like, oh, I got
Yeah.
to order some new O-rings, but everything looks pretty good. Nothing's too jacked up.
It's exactly as I remembered, just as battle worn.
Yeah.
I
Jesus,
had my GI Joes took a beating more than any one of my toys. Where my GI Joes took a beating because, well,
did you shoot them?
No.
BB gun?
No. I was
okay.
like, wait, shoot them out of a thing or shoot
Nick's a
them
pacifist.
with a thing?
Yes. Yes.
No, but they got thrown. They got left outside. They got like we put an addition
Frozen
on
in the
my
freezer.
house. Yeah, and we put an
freeze them
addition on the
outside.
house, and they were like, they definitely got thrown in like an unfinished house.
We did a thing where it was like my cousin, I think, maybe saw like a picture or something. Must have seen something where he got the idea to bury them with their heads sticking out,
Oh yeah.
like they were being captured. And then we got like called to dinner or something, and we did it like we never got them back. I don't know what happened to them. I don't remember. Like I'm trying to remember the thing. I don't remember if we did them in the woods or what we did. But I lost some good men, some good Joes that day.
Some good men were lost that day.
We just forgot them, and then like one day I was like, "Oh yeah, we buried them. Where do we bury those?"
No man left behind. Not in Brodie's house.
And then and then my other buddy had a BB gun, and I never liked the idea. I had other friends who shot their GI Joes. It was almost like I'm a grown up. I like girls now, a lot of kids did it, and I was never into the idea. But we needed more GI Joes for this. Like we had made this like had a bunch of vehicles on the sidewalk basically that we had lined up like they were a parade, and or like a convo, not convo, convoy. Thank you. Jeez.
And got a great big convoy.
Yeah. And so we needed some more. So I like begrudgingly went and got a few of my least favorite ones and put them in there. And then we played sniper. And so a few of them died that way too. But I do regret that. I regret them. I regret breaking my toys.
Oh yeah.
I'm not proud of it.
Break-in, selling. Like I regret all that shit.
I regret. So I had all the X-Men cards. Like the first gen X-Men collection.
Oh yeah.
All the holograms, all of them.
Nice.
And just before we moved here, I had those and also a bunch of Magic cards. I do have some of my old Magic cards, and I let them go for a song because I had no patience or time to like deal with whatever. And I don't remember what I let them go for, but I remember looking up some of those the other day and being like, oh, I definitely didn't get that. I definitely.
Yeah. Nope, that's not right.
In fact, we moved here. We moved here from San Antonio, and we had a 2-year plan. Basically, just come hang out in Hawaii. It was just me and my wife, so no kids. So we're just like, let's just live Hawaii for a couple years, and we'll move back to the mainland and get serious about life and
Yeah, sure.
But we knew it was expensive here, and we looked up like storage unit cost because we had a bunch of crap, and we're going to be moving into a small, tiny place here, and so we got a storage unit in San Antonio, and it was like $20 a month, and it was probably about half the size of my garage. It was plenty of room for like toys and her grandma's china.
Yeah, $20.
Yeah, it's so cheap.
It was dirt cheap, but it had security. It was in a nice area. It was, we had that for like 6 or 7 years, and then one day we were just like, we probably need to go get that. We're not going anywhere. We probably need to go get that stuff. So we like had a whole trip to San Antonio, and then we started looking at like we have so much crap, and a lot of it was like it was like I had my toys and I had like VHS tapes that I'd had since I was little, and like all sorts of
Shit.
stuff. Like I had a big box full of DVDs and all my anime collection and all this stuff. And I'm like, we started looking at what it was going to cost to ship this stuff back, and it was just outrageous. And then we just sort of whittled it down to like, okay, like stuff my wife really cared about that belonged to family, and
Sure.
then like a handful of things that I could ship back. And I remember, so we had a sale, and I had all these like Gundam, like really huge Gundam. My buddy and I, years and years, got really big into Gundam toys models, and
Yeah.
we got really
This
expensive
was
because we had
badass.
the money on. We basically spent all the money on going on the weekend to get drunk, and then on Gundam. That's what we spent all of our money on. So we had like the most expensive kits you could buy, and I was like looking through them, just like, man, I can't believe I still have these things. Of course, the boxes are huge, and I couldn't like take it with me on the plane, and then the ship it on top of everything else was gonna be expensive. So I was like,
Yeah,
let's
that'd be a
sell
lot.
them. And I remember like no one bought the Gundam models, and I was dying inside. We literally dropped them off at Goodwill on the way out of town.
Oh, that sucks.
So whoever went to Goodwill got like, and I looked up one of the ones, and it was like a really bulky armored, huge one, and it was going for like $600 on like
Wow.
eBay.
Shit. Yeah, you definitely lost out. That sucks.
Dear Lord. But yeah, a bunch of random toys and DVDs and that kind of stuff. I mean, M.A.S.K was awesome.
All right.
I mean,
Did
so
that really
M.A.S.K is
story.
also like my.
M.A.S.K was
No, I have a number of friends, and not named Mike, that absolutely loved M.A.S.K. Like, and they've been talking to me about it for like 15, 20 years. And I'm like, oh yeah, like I know what it is. Like I didn't own any of the toys. Like, I'll be honest.
Listen, it's simple. They're masked crusaders working overtime, fighting crime. Fighting crime. They're secret raiders who will neutralize
Mhm.
as soon as they arrive at the site. And if you don't know, Tracker's going to lead the mission, and
Mhm.
Spectrum's got supervision.
Mhm.
M.A.S.K.
M.A.S.K. Yeah.
Always riding on a
we
Venom's
could
trail.
So we could expand it from M.A.S.K to include M.A.S.K and M.A.S.K, and just talk about
Jim
all
Carrey.
of it at once.
Jim Carrey,
Yeah,
and then Rocky Dennis.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I went to last September. I got a friend who works at Juno Giant, and took a group of us on the Juno Giant studio tour. And they
Nice.
have a scan of the original Elephant Man skeleton, which is what
Oh,
M.A.S.K.
that's cool.
So, and it's life size, and it's crazy. It's like
That's
it's
cool.
insane that was a human being at one point.
Yeah,
That's cool.
right.
The wild thing to me about M.A.S.K is that I completely forgot that the helmets did stuff. That the mask, thus the
Yeah.
namesake of the show, did anything. I thought it was just like because what I remember is the vehicles. I remember they had cool helmets they put on, but I thought it was just like almost like you put on your racing helmet. And,
Yeah.
you know,
One thing that always bummed me out as a kid is like they had Boulder Hill, but they never had like the round table, if you could say, like, where they all sit down and then the arms come down with their masks and energizes them. And
right,
like
yeah,
I was always bummed that they didn't have that built into the toy or the playset.
Like,
Like
they
I
have a
always
whole
wanted
lot
that.
inside. It's kind of empty. Is it just
It's
supposed to be like
empty.
a garage?
It's a garage, and then it transforms into like the battle platform or the battle station. But the inside's completely
Cool.
empty, with the exception of a jail cell.
Yeah, it's such a cool, iconic, like.
Is that where they stuck the Venom?
The Venom.
Yeah,
Miles Mayhem.
Miles, man.
His
Yeah.
twin brother Maxie.
Really? Max and Miles, man.
Yeah. That was for the racing series.
I'm looking at all the
Buzzard. Look up Buzzard. That was a badass fucking toy.
Buzzard. From which one? Oh, I see it. The race car.
Yeah, that was a badass.
Oh, it split, and that is pretty cool.
It was like two Two like Tron motorcycles and then a little jet.
Yeah, that is cool. You have that one too?
I have that, but I don't have the spoiler, so I gotta try and track
The
that
hang
down.
glider, you mean? The hang glider, man.
The hang glider.
I played with
but
that.
It's got one pilot, and it's got one guy. So what happens to
No, so the main thing is a robot. Huh? And then each motorcycle, you see a little black canopy. There's those black things on the sides. Those are canopies that open up, and that's where the figures go in.
Oh, the dude, the main middle part. You're saying that's a robot, the air squad.
Yes, with the red helmet, that's the robot. Yeah. And then if you look on the sides, there's little like canopies that the figures go in.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm not familiar at all with this series.
Yeah, that was Series 3 was the racing series. They had some cool fucking vehicles. Plus, it was one of them Wildcat.
Manta, they went a little bit further. Like they did what you could have done with Thunderhawk.
Yeah.
It just kind of that you can flip out some wings. It honestly doesn't look quite as cool though. I'll say Thunderhawk still looks cool. What's Laser Command? Is that something completely else?
Yeah, it's like laser tag type thing where if you shoot it just right, like the vehicles will explode parts.
Weird.
Yeah. Bulldog is pretty good.
In the 80s.
I'm looking at this website called maskforce.com, and it's got like
yeah, they got all the stuff on there.
Nice like this page.
Everything.
Listen, I like how we need M.A.S.K to come back.
Go to bed, and now I'm like actually talking about M.A.S.K.
Yeah. We need M.A.S.K to come back. We need Visionaries, Air Raiders.
I think Air Raiders are cool. Air Raiders is a cool idea, but it required so much like setup. The dinosaur is it Dino Riders?
Yes.
Is that the dinosaurs with the robot things on them? I think there's a guy like redoing those now. I think.
Beasts of the Cyberzoic. They're like adjacent. They're
similar. Yeah, those are cool.
Those are cool. I am dying for a Dino Saucers line.
Oh yeah,
Dino Saucers. Oh my god, I forgot about that. Yeah, look up. I remember Dino Saucers.
That's
all the time.
So they made figures back in the 80s in Brazil by a company called Glasslight, and if you can find one in mint condition with its accessories, you're paying like $1,200 for it.
Whoa. Yeah.
That's like no.
Yeah, that's a grail of mine. I would love to have a vintage Aloe in mint condition.
I love that cartoon. I forgot completely about it. I really.
That's like one of my favorites. I am dying for someone to get that license or just make it. Denver, the last dinosaur.
Denver, I was about to say Denver.
Dude, that'd be right up NECA's alley. You could give him the cloth freaking shirt and everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Look,
that's true.
I found the DVDs at the dollar store like 2 years ago. I'm not even like the TV.
What was it?
What was the high school?
What was seasons? Huh?
What was the high school one that was the dinosaurs?
Denver. Wasn't he in high school?
Yeah, but there was one that was
Denver, the last dinosaur. He's my friend and a whole lot more. It was on like TBS or whatever, and I remember they had the Dino Power Hour. It was Denver the Last Dinosaur and Dino Saucers back to back.
Then you throw Cadillacs and dinosaurs in there. You got Dino Riders. My brother was obsessed with this other one. It was Dink the Little Dinosaur.
Except the action figure, the riders were like generic. I don't remember the specifics, but there was something about because in the cartoon they were specific like characters, but if you looked at the toys, they were these sort of generic little soldiers, I believe.
For Dino Riders?
Yeah. No, again, I could be just making this up or being on the completely.
Yeah, I don't remember if they had names. I remember the Rulons were some cool figures though.
Oh no,
there was something about where they whatever the toy company is just use like some other toy that already existed that would just fit or something like
Kenner?
Yeah, like they're like, hey, these will fit in the seat, and they just were like, yeah, they look like military-y,
And
maybe,
they
or
like
space.
I
Kind
think
of like Kenner. Like Robin Hood is definitely not Green Arrow.
Yeah.
no, they did have a lot more generic good guys, if you will, for Dino Riders, but there was definitely some named characters. I think it was a good
Krulos.
I think it was like a
No,
good
they had it
15
in the toys.
years.
They had the named characters.
Yeah.
Oh, I am looking at. I see the Tyrannosaurus Rex one here. Those do look pretty specific. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I'm thinking.
I still have my Dino Riders
No,
T
there
Rex.
there was a like don't get me wrong, I do too. Don't get me wrong, there was a lot of generic good guy, right? Like the bad guys
Red shirts.
yeah. But I think it was a good 15 years before I found out there was more than just like 8 episodes of that show. Like
No, it's
Oh,
only a
really?
pilot.
no, that's what everybody had on VHS, buddy.
I know.
Back in
I
the
have the
day.
entire but no, like there's an entire season based off of like the Ice Age. I was like,
Yeah,
what?
yeah, I remember that. But all right, you want to go even more like obscure and adjacent? And let's see if any of these ring a bell.
All right.
Do you remember Computer Warriors?
No, Computer Warriors. No.
It was pretty much Tron before Tron, or maybe after Tron, but it was a cartoon. And
Like a Transformer like things.
yeah, the toys were like transforming things,
Oh
but it
my
was weird. It was
Oh,
like a
you
Pepsi
woke up
can,
this whisper in my brain. Holy crap, that's so crazy.
right?
Yeah, I'm looking at
Oh,
this like green dude with like the bug eyes. I
yeah,
don't know if I had it or somebody else did, but I
and
remember.
there was little like floppy disks that transform
Yeah,
like two
yeah.
things move into little air gliders or whatever. Yeah.
This one's a
Um,
Pepsi can. Looks like.
yeah,
That's
the
what.
Pepsi can turns into a jet. There's a soccer ball that turns into like a gunner station. That made no sense.
Yeah, I see that. Wow.
All right.
I don't
What
remember
about
those, but I remember that. Yeah.
what about Snailians?
No, let's see what
What
the
about Rock Warriors?
Everybody knows Rock Warriors.
Snellians.
Yeah.
Snellians.
Snailiens. It was like a
Yeah, the packaging. This looks familiar. I don't. Was there was it just a toy line?
no, it's a cartoon.
Oh yeah, I don't remember that
Yeah.
cartoon.
Armored up snails battling armored up ticks. It's like, what
It
the
makes
fuck?
me think of Battle Beast a little bit, but
Yeah.
it'd be cool if they
Yeah.
did Battle Beast like in, you know, larger scale with like real articulation and paint
Oh,
and
that'd be
stuff.
No.
someone's doing a third party.
One of those.
Um,
Probably the same
See,
guys that are doing
I
Mask.
would buy Battle Beasts, but don't give me the blind packs. That's super common now. Fuck that.
A
Give
good buddy of
me
mine owns the toy company Last Resort Toys, Brian, and he goes after all those. He's tried to get Food Fight. He's been trying to get Food Fighters from I think it's Mattel for years and
huh.
years. And they've been. I mean, he's gone to their offices. They've been like, "Yeah, we think we make this deal work," and then they don't call him back. And he's had all sorts of adventures with them. And but
So
he's got some obscure ones. He's got some pretty. If you look at his like website, the ones he does get or his Instagram, he gets some like really kind of a lot of the like those ones you would put a quarter in the store and get and be like an alien or something. But like
yeah.
Muscle Man.
those were actually like a brand of a line of toys. I had no idea. I just took them for granted as the cheap
What's
toy.
his Instagram?
Last Resort Toys, or maybe just Last Resort.
Last Resort Toys right there. Yeah.
I think Food Fighters would get me to buy stuff.
So if you look up combat creatures on Kickstarter, that's the like 6-inch quote unquote battle beasts.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
okay.
so those are kind of cool, but definitely, I would much rather have not that.
Oh, I'm not getting them, but like that's what's coming, out there.
Like those are really cool, and like they're all right. the more I scroll down, the cooler they get. But still, I really just want more of those,
It really looks
2-inch
like
tiny
they're
creatures.
reusing. Looks like they have interchangeable armor parts, and then they have two different buck bodies that they're using.
Yeah.
With a couple of different heads and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm excited for Savage Crucible. I back that. I'm waiting for
those look cool.
Oh, if you back the Kickstarter, you get a 3D printer file to create the enjoy the stylized mini BB figures patterned after the popular designs from the 80s toys.
Yeah.
So they took this the 6.5-inch creature and made it a battle beast. And they're giving you the 3D printable files, which is kind of cool.
I was really into another cartoon. We had this channel called Channel 40, and it was like we didn't have cable, so it was one of the few channels that had cartoons on it regularly. And I'd get home from school, and it'd be Denver the Last Dinosaur. It'd be the whole dinosaur stuff. It'd be but on the weekends they did Saber Rider. They had like Japanese toys, so they had Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs, which I was obsessed with as a kid, and Robotech, or maybe it was a Robotech or the Macross. I can't remember.
Exo Squad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was Robocross, Robotech in the States.
Yeah.
I think right, and because Macross is the anime.
Yeah. But that was kind of my first intro into like Japanese animation. But I was super into Saber Rider and that whole thing. There was like a live action show that I've been killing myself trying to remember the name of, and it was like around that same era, and they had a truck, I think, and I'm not gonna even be able to explain it. I want to say the car like lived in the truck, and then the car would come out of the truck, and they were like they were kind of sci-fi. The main dudes were sci-fi kind of, but it was modern day 80s.
Was it anime?
No, this is live action, and I've got this blip of a memory of it. It's like Max Headroom was still around. Like this was that era of TV shows, and I think maybe like Knight Rider and all that stuff was still on too.
Was it Automan? Remember that?
Automan.
No, that was like the guy that transformed into a car.
Oh, yeah. The Highway. It might have been Highwayman. The Highwayman.
Oh my god! I just pulled that up. Starring Sam Jones.
It might be the Highwayman. I'm only seeing one picture though.
I'm watching a video.
Oh yeah, that was it. That was it. I remember his the buddy, his looked like this Popeye looking dude.
Oh.
Shotgun from the hip.
Why does this look like Land, Thunder, and Paradise?
This is amazing. I'm so happy I found this. I probably am not going to be. I'm probably going to watch some videos and be like, why has this been like plaguing me?
This looks terrible, man. This looks terrible.
This looks terribly
so
awesome.
Into it when it was out when I was a kid.
But think about it. Like, we had cool stuff. Like, think about how cool this would have been back in the 80s.
That truck is badass. Would you not want? Did you see the truck? Like, would you not want that on your shelf? That's pretty cool.
It's freaking hot rod. It's Rodimus Prime, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
that's Rodimus Prime, dude.
I guess it is a little bit Rodimus Prime, yeah. Rodimus Prime with this, but this, I think, this
Sam
predates.
Jones.
I think it predates.
It's Flash
Right,
Gordon.
I'm leaving this tab open so I can dive deeper into this. this insanity.
Hey,
That's crazy.
in case you forget, Brody, it's got Flash Gordon in it, so now you know how to find it.
It's got what? Oh,
Flash
Yeah,
Gordon.
the actor. Yeah. I think I remember it now. I don't know why I never just looked up truck sci-fi 80s. I
Look,
one of those
the
things.
reality is
It's
that
like
there's a
it's been
number
like
of
flicker of
times.
a memory, and I'm like, how do I find this thing that's plaguing me? Like I remember being, super
It's
cool.
too funny.
I've done that a number of times where like I know I've Googled things, and then like 5 years later I Google the same thing, and then I finally find what I'm looking
Pops up.
for, and I'm like,
Or
like
you're very like detailed and specific, and you find nothing, and then you're just like very generic and broad, and you're like, that's it.
yeah,
Space truck drive old. Beep. Highwayman, here we come.